Next problem. A history teacher claims that the average height of Filipino males is 163 centimeter. A student taking up statistics randomly selects 20 Filipino males and measures their heights. So the result shows that the average height is 165 centimeter. The standard deviation is 457 and the level of significance is 0.05. So again, we can use, first we have to identify the given. So we have the claim of a history teacher. So that is the population mean. And then a student taking up statistics randomly selects 20 Filipino. So that is the number of sample. And then the result is the average height is 165 centimeter. So that would be the sample mean, 165 cm. So the standard deviation is 4.57 and the level of significance is 0.05. So again, first we have to identify anong test statistic ang gagamitin natin. So we have to consider again the number of samples used. So since the number of samples is 20, which is less than 30, so we cannot use z-test. So kapag n is less than 30, kapag equal or more than 30, we can use z-test. But if n is less than 30, we have to use the t-test. Okay? So same lang naman yung method nila, meron lang slight difference. So same method, identify the given. Then step 1, we have to identify the null hypothesis, which is the hypothesis we are going to test, and then the alternative hypothesis. So for the null hypothesis, so that is the claim of the teacher. So the population mean for the average height of Filipino is 163 cm. So yung claim na against the null hypothesis, that is the alternative. So the population mean is not equal to 163 centimeters. Okay? Next, so we already constructed the null and the alternative hypothesis. Again, the level of significance is 0.05. But we will now proceed to the computed value. So check muna natin. For the computed value, instead of z-test, we have to use the t-test. So same lang rin ang formula, P, but aside from, instead of Z, so we have to use C. So that is sample mean minus population mean, all over standard deviation, sample standard deviation over square root of N. So since we have the value of the population mean, the sample mean, the standard deviation, and the number of sample, so we just have to substitute the value. So the sample mean is 165 minus the population mean 163 all over standard deviation 4.57 over square root of 20. So 165 minus 163. So that is, so Q is equal to 2 over, so click na natin ito, 4.57 divided by square root of 20. So, dinalit ko na ito, 4.57 divided by square root of 20, so that is 1.022. So T is equal to So approximately E is equal to 1.96. Okay, so that is the computed value. For the critical value, so it is the p value, critical. So for the critical value, since we use 0.05 level of significance, so dun merong slight changes sa process. Kasi hindi siya basta positive, negative 1.96. If we are going to use the t-test, para ma-check natin yung critical value, we have to get first the degree of freedom or the DF. So, paano natin malalaman ang DF or degree of freedom? So, that is just n minus 1. So, DF is equal to, ang n natin is 20. 20 minus 1. So, ang DF natin is 19. Sabihin, ang degrees of freedom is 19. Pero hindi pa yan yung critical value. So, that is only the degrees of freedom. Next. So, you have to check, ang level of significance natin is 0.05. Tama? So, since non-directional tayo, that is 2-tailed. So, sa exam yung 2-tailed din lang ngayon. So, 2-tailed. Level of significance, 0.05, 2-tailed. And then, the degrees of freedom is equal to 19. Ngayon, meron akong binigay na table, photocopy ng table where you can see the critical value. So, yung table na yun, that is a T-critical value. So, ito yung example niya. Ayan. So, ayan yung nasa photocopy. Sa pinaka-leftmost, sa pinaka-upper part, makikita nyo yung 1 tail, and then 2 tails, and then DF. So, yung column na yan, that is for the degree of freedom, yung kulay pink. Ngayon, i-check yung row. Siyempre, we are using 2-tailed. So, sa 2 tails kayo titingin. So, sa 2 tails, hanapin nyo dyan yung 0.05. So, ayun, nasa baba ng 0.025. And then, kunin nyo yung intersection ng column na yan, saka yung degrees of freedom na 19. So, makikita nyo, ang value or intersection ng 19 na degrees of freedom at 0.05 na 2 tails is 2.093. So, ang critical value natin ay 2.093. Ano ba? 2.093. So, ganun po yung paghanap sa or ang paggamit ng T-critical value. So, ang critical value niya ay hindi basta yung positive, negative 1.96. Kundi, we have to use the degrees of freedom, identify if 2-tailed, pero 2-tailed lang naman tayo, and then the degrees of the level of significance. So, from that, nakita natin yung critical value, which is 2.093. So, ngayon, we already have the value of the computed value, which is 1.96, and we have the critical value, which is 2.093. So, same lang din na rules sa z-test. If the computed value is higher than the critical value, then we have to reject the null. Question, mas mataas ba ang computed value than the critical value? No. It means we cannot reject the null hypothesis. If we cannot reject the null hypothesis, so ang conclusion natin, so ang conclusion natin, ayun nga, since we cannot reject the null hypothesis, we have to accept the null hypothesis. It means the average height of Filipino is 163 centimeter. So that is only applicable to 0.05 significance level. So that would be your conclusion. So that is how to apply or how to use the t-test. Again, let's start from the top. So given natin, identify the population mean, the number of samples and the sample mean, the standard deviation or sometimes the variance, and then the level of significance. So we can use the t-test if the number of data is less than, or the number of samples is less than 30, and then given si standard deviation and si variance. Kapag na-meet lahat yun, we can now proceed to the first step, which is constructing the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis. So the null hypothesis is the claim of the history teacher, which is the average height of Filipino is equal to 163 centimeter. And then the alternative hypothesis is the average height of the Filipino is not equal to 163 centimeter. Computed value, we just have to use the same formula, and then based on the given, we have to substitute and then compute, then that would be the computed value. So dito nakuha natin is 1.96. For the critical value, we have to consider the degrees of freedom. Paano makuha yun? That is n minus 1. So since ang n natin is 20, that is 20 minus 1, 19. So check the level of significance, 0.05, and then identify with two-tailed. Then check doon sa table natin ang critical value. So we can get the value of the critical we can get a critical value which is 2.093. And then you can now conclude, since the computed value is smaller than the critical value, so we cannot reject the null. Instead, we have to accept the null hypothesis, and the average height of the Filipino is 163 centimeter. So that is t-test.